in the place.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Welcome to today's podcast. A little special podcast. We just came from a trip, and I'm still feeling the vibe. I'm still feeling the vibe. I'm feeling like one of the old school break dancers. That's why you hear my tunes a little bit crazy. We're just gonna do something different today. We're gonna have a couple of kids talk about their experience on this trip that we went on, and then get them out and get 3 more in so that we could try to get everybody a fair shot. My name is Mr. Ish. We're at KIPS Bay Boys and Girls Club, called their Clubhouse. From my left to my right, just everyone say your name. That's you, sweetie.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, guys, from Jordan.
Hi, Jordan. Welcome.
And
Justin. All right, guys. We just had I think we had a wonderful trip. I know I did. I'm definitely going back. But we just went on the trip to the Bronx Museum. They have a wonderful exhibit. And I just wanted to get your thoughts about the trip today. So anybody, you can just jump in and just talk.
Okay. It was good.
Okay.
I like the part when we had to do graffiti about the train. And also the part about the pictures.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the exhibit. Let's give everybody an idea of what's going down.
Something I liked about the exhibit is very beautiful, and it represents the Bronx and where we live in, and the pictures he took. It's like you can relate to the pictures he took. Like you could,
True.
yeah, and yeah.
All right, for those that don't know, there is a wonderful exhibit in the Bronx Museum. It has to do with graffiti art. It has to do with art from the Bronx. There was an artist. His name is Henry Calif, I think. Calfint, I believe is his name. And he was a gentleman that was taking pictures since, I would say, 77 or something like that, 1977, of street art and graffiti and trains and stuff like that. He built a good relationship with artists and graffiti artists, and all his work is at the museum, and it's wonderful. If you get a tour, it's very informative. So I took some of the kids from the clubhouse over there, and just to give them a little experience of what it was back in the days, as they would say, and hopefully get some of their feedback. So that's the breakdown of what we did today. So y'all can continue talking.
So I really like the graffiti, and something about people think graffiti is a crime, but I think graffiti's art, and it expresses the way how people feel, expresses the way on how people feel, on what we're going through, like murals, and like it talked about what's going on right now.
Well, don't get it twisted. It was a crime.
Period.
People got arrested. People went to jail. So and it's still a crime. Because you're vandalizing someone's property.
Yeah.
Now, if you have
permission.
if you have permission, like there's a lot of people that have storefronts and they have a gate, and then somebody paints a mural on it. If you have permission, then it's different. But if you just went out there just crazy and just got spray paint or markers or whatever you did it with, and decided that you're gonna just paint someone's wall without their permission, it was a crime.
Yeah.
And and painting on the trains at that time was a crime.
Yeah.
Now is looked back as a artistic point of view and stuff like that. But back then it was a crime.
Yeah, here's a theme. Never do graffiti without permission.
That's very good. And now most of the graffiti is done on paper or canvases or stuff like that. Did any of you guys go to the Family Day?
Yeah.
I did.
You went. You saw the guys doing graffiti out there?
Yes.
They were doing it on a canvas. They had it, on the gate, and they were doing their little freestyle or their little graffiti on that day, and it was pretty cool. It's pretty colorful. It's just the smell of paint, of the spray paint and all that stuff is a different thing. That just takes me away to when I was younger. What else? What else you liked about the exhibit?
I like.
You're not talking because you're not in front of a mic, so let him talk. Your turn later.
I liked when we got to participate with partners. So what we did and what we liked and what we didn't like, and shared our feelings and thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, we picked our favorite pictures and like why we like them
and why we don't.
I think for some reason it wasn't enough time.
Yeah,
Like
I
like
agree.
we didn't really have enough time. Like I don't know if you saw where they had all the train sets on the wall, the pictures. Right behind you, there was like a glass case. That glass case had a lot of important things on it that you probably didn't look at. Plus, then we started getting, we met the gentleman that took all the pictures,
I saw the
Mr.
glass
Henry.
case.
So we started talking to him and having some great questions. So, we kind of skipped out on looking at that case.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of interesting stuff in there.
And one of the graffiti trains, it was one of the graffiti trains. It said crime in the city, and I really what is that?
You really thought what?
I think
My
it.
dad is calling.
All right, so pick up your dad.
I think it relates to the crime they did.
What you mean?
Like the artists that went to jail and stuff.
Well, there was some artists that went to jail. I mean, it was a kind of a misdemeanor at that point. Probably got a ticket or something like that. But
Goodbye, guys.
oh, that's Sarah right now, so she's saying goodbye. Somebody else filling her seat.
I like the
What you like?
I like the room that it was showing the trains, and like
The actual size?
yeah, and
Yeah. I was trying to tell you guys that was pretty close to the size of a train, like what they
True.
used to look like. So it was kind
Like
of
an
cool.
actual train.
Yeah, we took pictures in front of that. It was
I
dope.
like that part the most when we took pictures.
But when are the girls in?
I didn't like the drawing a lot because I'm not an artist and I can't draw, so it was hard.
But you know that back in the days that we had people. Let's say myself when I had to do the drawing today, it was very easy for me to do the bubble letters and stuff like that. But we had people that we used to call fill-ins, and that person, all they did was take spray paint and color. Like while I'm doing the piece and I'm doing the lettering and all that, your job was to color. So you may take like a yellow spray paint and spray the bottom, and somebody else come and fade it in with a different color. So we had other people. So when you see these murals, that wasn't one person doing it a lot of the time. That was other people that we used to call fill-ins. And that person used to just come in, and as I set it up, or as I set up the canvas or the train or whatever you were doing it on, you'll have the next person come in and just, yo, this is what I'm thinking of. You fill in the rest, and you'll be coloring it in. So even though you say you're not an artist, you could have been, a person that filled in, or you could have been one of the people watching out and making sure that the cops are not coming. So you could have been all those things. So you could have still been in the graffiti crew, if you needed to be. What about you, sweetie? How you felt about the exhibit?
It was pretty, to me, it was, I enjoyed it a lot.
Was this something that was eye-opening that you guys didn't know about? Was there something that just stood out that... Yeah, talk.
That when he said there was kids our age that had they did famous art pieces, and yeah, they were our age and they were doing it, and that was worldwide.
Yeah. I mean, this is an art form that's very, very popular, especially now, still in Europe and in Paris and Germany and in Japan. Like this art form has crossed, different parts of the world, and it all came out here. It all started in the Bronx. The same way hip hop started in the Bronx, this art form started in the Bronx also. So this is very important that you guys know the history, especially since a lot of you live here, of the Bronx, the Boogie Down Bronx, or whatever they call it in rap songs. But all this came from this era, from back in the late 70s through, I would say early 90s. Do you guys have any questions that you would like to ask and maybe you didn't get answered over there? I got one right now. How do you think, what the kids did back in the days, it changed a lot of laws. Like these kids, you know how you can't go to the store now and buy spray paint, right? You got to be 18 and over. When I was young, there was no law. My mother said buy spray paint. I could be 9 years old, and I could just go over there with $70 and buy a ton of spray paint, and there was no law to it. So because of the graffiti artists and all that, they made a law that you can't buy spray paints until you're 18 or over. And that law still exists to this day. So, back in the days, the kids used to even steal the spray paint. So I don't know if you look at spray paint now when you go to let's say a Home Depot or to one of these stores, they usually have them in a cage and they closed in. That's why. That all changed because of graffiti artists. Anything else? Even the trains changed. Like the trains that they make now are supposed to be graffiti proof. Like if you can't spray on the metal because the paint doesn't take too well. But people try different ways.
Yeah.
The art,
Yeah.
the artist that, I mean, the person that we met that's taking the pictures,
Mhm.
he looks really old. So it's like he's been doing it for a long time.
Well, you imagine when they show. Remember, I don't know if you got to see him, but when he was getting the phone calls from the artist, he looked that he was already in his 20s at least. And if he's doing the art when I was young, I'm 50 years old, so he has to be at least in his 70s. I would believe his body's 75 or so, maybe even older.
So you see when we walked in,
Mhm.
what was that picture? Like it was about like 6 boys.
Oh, the first picture where you walked in, that was the one with the white T-shirt that I said I knew. His name is Crazy Legs. So this is somebody you should definitely Google. He is one of the most famous dancers. He does like pop, like popping and break dancing and stuff like that. He had a crew, and they still exist. It's called the Rock Steady Crew, and he was their leader. He was one of the break dancers. He's the one that came up with windmills and how to do all those things on the floor and all that. So if you ever Google him. His name is Crazy Legs. He's also a DJ, but he's more known for his dancing. And He danced throughout the world, everywhere. Paris, London, like everywhere he went to dance. Like he's that famous. There was one of the kids that I don't know. You guys were already waiting online or drinking water. One of the kids that was selling me the book, he was from the Rocksteady crew.
So he still does that now?
Yes, he's about my age. He's probably 50, 52, I would say. So I've met him many times, and I've known him for a minute. Anything else?
I noticed on a lot of the like the paintings they did, some of them, like a lot of them had trains on it.
Yeah, because they were doing it on a train too. So it was kind of like, oh, we're doing a picture. We're doing a picture on a train of a train. So that was like kind of the theme. You also seen all the colors that they use? It's crazy, right? And when you see colors like that, you think of all these fancy sneakers that you guys wear now that have like purple and neon. Those kids thought about that a long time ago, like how to put purple with neon green and orange stripes. Like they already had that scheme. They already knew that. And you guys are like, oh, look at the Air Max. Look how cool they look. That color scheme was done 45 years ago. Like you ain't bringing nothing new to the table.
My brother has shoes like that.
Yeah.
I call them Buzz Lightyear shoes.
Buzz
They're
Lightyear?
green
they
and purple.
green purple. How do you guys feel if I bring back the graffiti class?
I'll go.
Who would like to come back to? I did it before. I don't remember who was on there, who went, but it was for me it's a great experience just to teach you guys. But I think it's pretty cool. We had a great time the last time.
I would like to go.
All right, I may ask my director, maybe do a quick 5 or 6 weeks or something like that, depending on how much time they give me. But something that we could do a nice piece maybe on the canvas and actually do a spray paint or something. Or maybe invite one of my friends. I have a real dope artist. His name is Dister, Dister, and he does graffiti throughout the whole Bronx. I don't know if you ever seen one of his pieces, but it always says "I love my hood" on it, and it has a little piece that says "I love my hood." So he's Dominican, I believe, Dominican and Spanish. He does breakdancing and he does some great artwork. So maybe I can have him come in and talk to us.
What was you see when we was like going up the stairs? What was that rock? It was
Oh, that was one of them. Was the gentleman, Mr. Henry, the one that took all the pictures. He was actually a sculptor. He was an artist, so he used to sculpt like marble and sculpt different types of art, and he just was fascinated by the colors and this artwork that was moving constantly every time he took the train. Because you know how now when you wait for the train, you're just waiting and the train passes by. Oh, that's the 4th train. Back then, these art forms were on both sides of the train. So you could get one of these pieces on one side saying like Merry Christmas or something like that. And then the guys on the platform that were waiting for the train, it could be a whole totally different piece on the other side. So every time a train came in, and I'm talking about every car had this art on it. So it's not like one car was, it was different. So one person had a car and then it was empty. No, it was every car had different types of art. So it was like something moving. So you weren't bored. Every time you were standing, you'd be like, oh, that's dope. Oh, that's whatever his name is, Chaz. Or that's this guy, Tag, or whatever different names that they threw up. Their art was there. And as soon as the people, painted the train, they did another one. So it was constantly.
Those people are probably very creative then.
Yeah. A lot of them went. Well, I'm going to tell you a couple of famous people that you should probably look up. There's a great movie called Exit Through the. What is this one called? Exit Through the something house. I got to get the name for it. I'm going to look it up right now while I'm talking. And it's an artist called Bansky. Have you ever heard of an artist called Bansky?
No.
Have you
No.
ever heard of an artist called Keith Haring?
No.
No.
I'm gonna show you a Keith Haring. As soon as I show it to you, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's what it is." Very, very famous street artist. Let me see if they bring it up real quick. So, while I'm doing this, y'all guys will talk because. Oh man, it just.
I was
canceled.
fascinated.
What you was fascinated by?
I was fascinated about the picture when it was like very late at night and they were spray painting.
Well, all this stuff was done at night. None of this stuff was done in the daytime.
So they won't get
Hardly
caught.
ever any of his stuff was done in the daytime. Because you get caught in the daytime. This is some of the characters from, if you can't see it, Keith Haring. So this is some of his characters.
In my art
So
class.
so whenever you see this or you see the dog, he did like a dog barking or stuff like that. He's a very, very famous artist. He has all types of stuff, but you might even see something like this that has like him and it's like united to another
I
guy.
forgot what it was, but it's somewhere in my school.
So that's Keith Haring. He's a very famous. They call it street art. As you can see, it's very colorful.
Wow.
It's very simple. But this is simple. Even you could do it. But he became very, very famous. His paintings right now are worth so much money.
Nice.
He passed away. He died.
Oh.
But his pictures are worth a lot of money.
How did he die?
You may see something like this. Look, this is pretty cool. This is skateboards. This is skateboards, and he did all this work. So it's pretty dope. And then there's another one. He's another artist, and they don't call him. They may call him. I don't know how they call it, but he may be known more of a street artist than anything. That was his name. Bansky. Oh, we're switching people around, so don't worry about us. What about a guy named Bansky? This is some of the art that he did. They usually have one that is drawn like a rat, maybe with spray paint or something like that. Well, he's another famous artist. He's very famous, and nobody knows what he looks like. He's never shown his face.
Wow.
Oh, it's called Exit Through the Gift Shop. So if you ever watching Netflix and you're bored or you want to know more, it's called Exit Through the Gift Shop, and it's about Bansky and his art. One of his paintings, I would say about maybe a year ago, went for $10 million. One of his paintings, but listen to this. He's very funny too. He did a painting that had it on the top. It looked like it had, no, as a matter of fact, sorry, on the bottom, it was a big case. and it had a painting, and the people who wanted it, there was a big exhibition. They paid $10 million for it. I don't know if he was there or somebody was there from his people, but as soon as they paid the $10 million, something happened. The painting got shredded, and it then became more. It became more famous, and it cost more money.
Wow.
So the half of the painting became shredded. He had a shredder built into where they framed the painting. So after the person said knock, like they knocked that the person won the auction for $10 million. Everybody said, "Oh my God, $10 million, $10 million!" It seemed like it was like remotely done, and they pressed the button, and the painting actually got shredded. So he does things like that because it's almost like, I can't believe you spent $10 million on the painting, and now I'm gonna shred the painting that you spent $10 million on, and then it's gonna be worth $14 million. Like, he does crazy things like that. So he's you definitely should look into some of his art. It's really, really funny, and he does a lot of expressions and stuff like that. So we got a couple of new people just sitting in. So just say your name and how do you feel about the exhibit? Everybody could talk. I mean, you could talk. There's no rules here.
My name is Duran, and I have a quick question before I tell you how the
What's up?
exhibit was. When we were upstairs doing the bubble letters, there was like a poster of magazines. Was that by like very popular people?
No, I think those magazines were just different exhibits from different places. But I looked, and I don't think it was anything that had to do with the art from that we were watching, that we went to go see. I don't think so.
Oh, well, the exhibit for me was pretty good. Especially when we were in a timeline room where it showed everything with the time.
Oh, the first room that we walked in?
Yeah.
That it kind of gave you an order of when it started and how it kind of went through. That takes that's why I felt that it went kind of quick. Like, I saw it and I saw a little bit of a timeline, but I really would want to read it. But I bought the book. So I'm going to read the book. The book has the timeline on it and everything. So I don't know if you've seen the book, but the book is dope. The book, I bought the book. Look, he was there, so he autographed it for me. So he put his name, he put for Mr. Ish, and he put the date. And this has all the stuff that we saw. So everything that we saw is on here. I'm a little off from the thing, but all the different exhibits and all that is on here. All the pictures. That's me. I just hit the crickets by mistake. And it has that timeline. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to check that timeline. That was me. Don't worry about it. I'm going to check that timeline and make sure everything was kosher. What's up? Talk.
My name is Mariah, and did I say one thing I like about?
Yeah, just tell me how you felt about it. I mean, I want your honest opinion because I want to take more kids. I mean, I know I had a great time, but that's me. I'm into art. For you guys, it might be the first time you ever seen it. It may not be something that you ever seen before. So I just want to know how you feel about it.
How I felt about the museum is I liked all the different, like you see where they have the train stations.
All the different exhibits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like all the different designs that were on the trains. And I like how there's pictures of back then of people's art.
I thought that you guys will really like the colors too, because it's very colorful. It's not something that's boring. It's not something that you're going to use burgundy and gray and all that. No, it's none of that. These colors are mixed up. There's fire. There's bridges in the background. There's like paint splash. There's words that you can read that you don't know what they are, but you're still looking at them. Things are big. They're in your face. So it's pretty crazy. What's up? Talk.
Okay, my name is Sierra,
I see, Ara.
and my favorite part was the colors, like Mr. Ish said. I like the trains because every train, it had like different colors. And I have a question.
Yeah.
The famous graffiti artist, the person you talked about that doesn't show his face.
Yeah.
When he's doing graffiti, does he put like a mask on or something?
Yes. In the movie, they show him with a mask. People don't know how to contact him. He does a lot of art on the walls, and then they become so famous that people like would literally break a wall down to take his art. Like if he does it on a brick wall, someone would try to break the wall just to take his art. So I don't want to give too much about the movie that he's in, but it's just amazing. Like he could do art with balloons and people go crazy. Like it's very, very, very wild. I mean that scene of the exhibits and art world is amazing.
Do you think he'll ever show his face?
He hasn't, because if he does, I think that by this point, it's good to have the mystery and it's oh my God, no one's ever seen him, and people have seen him. Like he's dealt with other artists in the sense that people know who he is, but he's not out there. So there's no pictures of him, or anything like that. So he's very careful about who knows him, and it could be for his protection. Somebody could break into his house if they know who he is and take all his stuff. I mean, they'll probably steal his pencils, everything, just to sell. So it could be part of that, and it could also be part that because nobody knows him, he could walk freely. He could walk freely through these different countries and stuff.
So he's the most famous graffiti artist?
I won't call him a graffiti artist. That's a real people that do graffiti. That's a thin line, but that's really more street art. Now there's a graffiti artist, like there's a guy named Turk 167, and he's very famous. He's from the Bronx. There's a movie called Turk 167 also, and you could Google that and look at it. There's a great movie which they're gonna show in the exhibit. I mean, if you want to take a flyer, it's called Style Wars. It's like almost like Star Wars, but it's called Style Wars, and it has all Mr. Henry's pictures, and it talks about the art, and it's really a film. It's a good film. I think I have it on DVD somewhere. If you want me to bring it in so we can look at it. What's up?
When we were at the exhibit, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a tiger, and it was on like a backboard or something.
It's not a backboard. It's called a handball court. I got it right here. I got it right here in my book.
It was on a handball court, and that made me feel I felt so surprised because on him it looked like there was black feet on him.
I don't know if you can see it, but this is the one he's talking about right here. That one.
Yeah, I like how his eyes are like bulging out, and I like that he has a chain.
I don't know who the artist is. Let's give the artist some credit here. Eye of the Tiger by Beast, I believe is his name. So I guess his graffiti name was Beast. So for him to do an animal like that was but you see, look, you know what's cool? Look, he got name chains on him. You see it? He got like rope chains with different names. It's crazy. Yeah.
You know the one that was your favorite? I like the one that was like the only one that had a background of like stars and planets that I saw.
Yeah, that's one of the few. I really liked it because it just reminded me of this handball court where I used to go to, and they always had like these pieces. There's actually another place called the Graffiti Hall of Fame, and I know what you all know what a Hall of Fame is, right?
Yes.
A Hall of Fame is basically where the best artists, put their work at. So this particular Graffiti Hall of Fame is on 106th Street and Park Avenue in Manhattan. It's actually a schoolyard, and then they took turns and made this graffiti art on these walls. But one of the good things about it is that nobody dared to draw over somebody else's art.
Wow.
It was kind of like, yo, you the best at whatever you do, you're going to have this wall for a month or two or whatever it was. And then another artist will come and be like, okay, it's my turn now. And then they'll, do it. And then somebody else will put that art. So the art was not only that it was the best artist doing it, it was very temporary. So nobody really owned it. You saw it, took pictures, and stuff like that. And then 2 months later, somebody else put their art up. So that was kind of wild. It's still there too. It's called the Graffiti Hall of Fame in 106 and Park Avenue. If you've never been there, if you're ever in Manhattan, you could drive right by.
When people would break down the graffiti to keep it, right? So if they broke it down and they don't know who it is, would they would they have to pay for the graffiti's art back?
Well, when I say some people broke like a wall down or something like that, I've only heard it for like really for a Bansky artist. Like if he did something on a wall and somebody saw it, like the person that owned the building would like even call they would call a company and put like a gate over it so that no one could mess it up to draw over it, or so that they had the option of showing it to whoever they wanted to. Oh, we got somebody on the line. Let's see who it is. Hello? Ooh, what time is it? Hold on a second. I gotta put you on blast. Who is this? Hello?
Yeah.
Who's this?
It's Alyssa.
Hi. Everybody say hi to Alyssa.
Hi,
Alyssa went
No,
out.
see, you're going home. Ciara, you're going home.
Ciara going home. All right, we all going home, but we're
Yeah.
gonna finish this podcast real quick.
Okay.
Thank you for going on the trip, and we're talking about the trip.
Okay.
What up, dog?
right.
Alyssa, what was your favorite part of the trip?
Seeing all the beautiful graffiti from the train.
Okay. We're going to talk to Miss Alyssa another time, but right now we're going to finish this podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the trip. I hope you learned something new. And like always, see you guys later.
Bye.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check.
And we're out.